So, the third member of our speaker series, Jim Sandler, is the owner, operator, chief everything at KM Consulting. He is the guy that you want to know when you want to know about your business. And he loves to say he performs CAT scans and MRIs on your business so he can help you make it healthy and whole. And I love that. But I also love the fact that he is a really good friend and has been a great advisor. He's a father, a husband, and good at both of those things too. It's um, one of those people that you really want to know in your life because they can make a difference. And I love the fact that I might have made a little bit of a difference in his too. So maybe knowing Jim for as long as I have, I know that it's helped me. I hope it's been good for you, Jim. But I got to tell you, I'm really excited that we're going to hear you speak today because every time you speak, I learn something and I can't wait for this crew to learn from you. So take it away.
So thank you, Jean, and good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about planning because we're at the end of 2022, headed into 2023. And the first question I have for everybody is, did you get the results in 2022 that you wanted? And if the answer is not yes, what are you going to do differently in 2023 to get what you want? But let's start a little bit back in the basics. Every company, every single company has certain things in common. Everybody does things a little differently. Your tactics may be a little different. But every company does certain things the same. Sales, marketing, HR, which includes hiring and firing, operations, finance, which for small companies can be just cash flow. How much cash do you have at the end of the week? And technology. Every company has that, and they perform those functions. So when you're putting a plan together, you have to address those functions. I always start with the end in mind. You know where you are now, but the important thing is, let's look a year from now and say, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be 1 year from now? And if you know where you want to be and you know where you are now, then you can put together a roadmap of how to get there. If you don't know where you want to be, you're never going to get there. So we start with, where do I want to be? And what does that mean? That's really, what's your vision? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Another thing is, especially if you're in business on your own, whether you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or as Tina likes to call it, an intrapreneur, where you're kind of working by yourself, but as part of another organization, what is it that you want to get out of your business? Why do you work? And as Jean said before, nobody talked about, I do it because I want more money. That's a byproduct. If any of you have ever heard of a guy by the name of Simon Sinek, he has something called Start With Why. And basically, he talks all about the fact that money is a byproduct. Money is not the main reason you do things. It's a byproduct. If you do things the right way, you'll make money. So for example, if you're in sales, right? If you're in sales and you're a commissioned salesperson, the win, the getting each order is the win. That's what keeps you going. If you win enough jobs, if you get enough orders, you'll make all the money. So how do we put a plan in place to achieve all of those goals that we want to make? Well, the first thing, you got to figure out what you want to do, what you want to build, and where you want to be a year from now. And then you need to take a good hard look at, we call it a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Obviously, we're not all great at everything. What are our weaknesses? What are the opportunities that we have to improve, to make our business better? What are the threats that keep us from doing that? And you may want to put down on a sheet of paper, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats? What keeps you from doing it? And then you have to take a look at something that we call CSFs, critical success factors. critical success factors. What is it that's critically important in order for you to reach wherever it is you want to go? And then, as said before, we get to goals. Now, I heard Thomas, and I heard Dwayne, and there might even have been a few others that were talking about it. Putting a plan together for your financial future. But what about putting a plan together for your business? Where do you want to be? So if we take a look at that, we put together our goals. And I heard someone also talk, I forget who it was, talk about, I think it was Scott, talking about SMART goals. What is a SMART goal? Well, a SMART goal is specific. M, measurable. It's got to be measurable. You can't just say, I want to increase my business next year. How do you measure that? A, is it attainable? R, who's responsible to get it done? T, what's the timetable? And I'm going to share my screen so you can. So if you can see my screen, so what are the things that you need to be focused on for 2023? What are those things? And then what are my goals? And we have SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, who's responsible, and what's the timetable. Now, we start specific. What's a specific goal? What's specific? I want to increase my business next year. Is that specific? No, it's not specific. I want to increase my business by 10% by the end of next year. Is that specific? Yes, it is. Is it measurable? Yes, it is. Is it attainable? We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. Who's responsible? Me. Timetable by the end of 2023. So now we have to figure out, is it achievable? Is it attainable? And the only way that we can determine if it's attainable is by then laying out how it's going to happen. How am I going to get an increase of 10% by the end of next year? What steps need to be taken in order to get a 10% increase in my business next year? 2% is going to come from A. 5% is going to come from B. 3% is going to come from C. And then when we have to scroll down from the general to the granular. What things do I need to do in order to get a 5% increase in sales? Specifically, what do I need to do? What area of my business can I increase by 5%? It could be as simple as raise my prices. It could be as difficult as I've got to come up with a new strategy in order to get to wherever I want to go. You have to start with the general and work your way down to the granular. And by doing that, you have the ability to actually put a plan in place as to how to get where you want to go. That's how you achieve your results. So we start out, where do I see myself a year from now? Then, okay, what's critically important for me to get there? What has to happen? Because if it doesn't happen, there's no way I'm going to get there. What are the things that are going to stand in my way? Those threats in the SWOT analysis. What are those threats that are going to get in the way of me achieving what I want to achieve? Then we can take it in terms of the various areas that I talked about before. Sales and marketing. What is my sales and marketing goal? In the people. What people do I need in order to reach that goal? It could be operations. How do I streamline my operation in order to get to where I want to be? It could be a financial goal. I need to be able to borrow money. I need to be able to take on partners. I need to be able to have certain financial obligations met. And if that's the case, better. It could be pricing. How do I and can I improve my pricing? Or can I reduce my costs? Because remember, revenues minus cost equals profit. So either I have to increase my revenue or I have to reduce my cost. There's only so far I can reduce my cost though. So either I can increase my revenues, and if so, how do I do it? Or I can reduce my costs. Maybe there are technology goals that I can have that can streamline my operation. So I have the ability to save, whether it's on people or on some other aspect of my business. Those are all areas that you can put goals together. Each one of those areas has to have its own SMART goal. And as you put that whole thing together, you have the ability to look where you want to go and then work your way backwards to figure out how I'm going to get there. I can send that template around. You can have a look at it. But those are the things that are important in putting a plan together. But even more important than all of that is what's your commitment to action? We can put all sorts of plans we want in place. We can plan everything. But if we don't act on those, we get nowhere. And a year from now, we'll be in the exact same place that we are now. The next piece that's really important is you need to take ownership and responsibility for everything that happens. You can't just blame it on, well, the economy was bad, COVID was bad. We had all these other things that were outside of my control that caused me to not make it. What is your responsibility to make sure that you get done what you need to get done? What are the things, the critical things that you need to do and the steps you need to take in order to make sure that you'll get to where you want to go? What's your role in it? And how are you making sure that you're accountable to your plan? Maybe it's an accountability partner. Maybe it's your Master Networks group. Maybe it's hiring a business coach. In terms of branding or marketing, maybe you need to give Rob a call. Comes to finance, maybe you need to give Thomas or Dwayne a call. You need to have people that are going to hold you accountable to make sure that you get done what you say you want to get done. Because if you don't, then it really wasn't that important. Accountability is critically important, but before you have someone hold you accountable for what you say you want to do, you need to put your plan in place. Now, I can send you a template, or there is a template in the hub from Master Networks. Those are there. The resources are there. The difficult part is actually sitting down and putting it down on paper and having it in front of you and seeing it. Or maybe just the whole idea of putting a plan in place is, anxiety producing. If I put a plan in place, either I've got to live by it and see that it's there every day, or just a waste of my time. And time's the one commodity we never get back. So sit down, put it in play. Put it in play. The teams that do the best are the teams that have a plan and then follow the plan. If you look at sports teams, the teams that do best are not necessarily the ones that have all the superstars. It's the teams that play best as a team and they have a plan in place. Put your plan in place, you act on your plan, you know where you want to go, and you'll get there. As long as you follow it and you have people that are there to help make sure that on a regular basis, you get those incremental steps done. Things always do better if you act incrementally. If you want to increase your business by 20% by the end of next year, you're not going in the last month all of a sudden hit 20%. You're going to do maybe 2% every month. This may seem incremental, but you get there. but you need some people to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. That's why when I deal with my clients, we meet on a monthly basis. And the first question that I ask them is, what is it that you did this month in order to move toward your goal?